It's happening. As I am speaking, a swarm of comets is flying straight into our direction. And what happens next could change everything. Most years we only see a few comets at one time. But right now, 7 are rushing in together, and one of them is growing brighter with every passing day. Astronomers are tracking this rare swarm as they race past Earth and the Sun in one of the tightest windows ever recorded. An eclipse by itself is powerful, but with 7 comets arriving in the same breath of time, that is not coincidence. It feels like the universe setting the stage for something far larger than a shadow crossing the sun. And if you think this is just about astronomy, wait until you hear what happens next. When you mix these two factors, the result isn't just rare. It's disruptive on a level we've never seen before. You're probably not going to believe what I'm about to tell you, but there's a comet coming dangerously close to Earth, and it happens right after the eclipse. Not all of these comets stay distant specks in the sky. One of them will sweep in close to Earth in October, right after the eclipse window has passed. Astronomers track these approaches as simple orbits, but spiritually, it feels like something far sharper, a warning shot across our path. Think about it. An eclipse already creates tension, a pause in the light. Then, almost immediately after, a comet comes racing past Earth as if to remind us how fragile and fleeting this moment really is. It's almost as though the universe is saying, don't waste time, because comets don't linger. They blaze past in a flash, brilliant and fleeting, never giving you the chance to hesitate. And that's the message here. Some doors only open once, and if you don't walk through, they slam shut forever. This close comet feels less like a spectacle in the sky and more like a spiritual clock striking midnight. A sharp reminder that opportunities, relationships, decisions, they all have windows. And if you're too afraid, too distracted, too slow to act, that window closes and it doesn't come back. And that urgency is not meant to terrify you. It's meant to wake you up. 7 comets in one season. That's not random. That's not coincidence. Spiritually, 7 has always carried weight, cycles of completion, endings, and new beginnings. The totality of an experience. In ancient traditions, 7 is the number of perfection, but not the perfection of everything being easy. It's the perfection of a cycle ending exactly when it's supposed to. 7 is the number that closes the book and lays it to rest. So when 7 comets gather before an eclipse, the message is clear. Something is wrapping up on a massive scale. It's like the universe is sweeping the last pieces into place before turning the page. And many of you may already feel this. Sudden endings, old connections fading without explanation, projects, relationships, patterns, all coming to a sharp and unavoidable close. That's not failure. That's not loss. That's the cycle doing what it's meant to do. Nothing is left unfinished. This isn't the time to resist. It's the time to recognize that the clearing is happening so that space is ready for what comes next. Because once the shadow lifts, a new chapter won't wait. It will arrive instantly, whether you're ready or not. Every comet that passes through our skies carries more than dust and ice. It carries meaning. They don't all arrive at once, and they don't all fade quietly. Each leaves a fingerprint, a ripple, a shift that you can feel in your own life if you're paying attention. And with 7 comets passing in this short window, it's as if the universe is unfolding a story, one chapter at a time. The first signs came quietly with pan-stars back in late July. Most people weren't looking up, but the subtle effect was there. A quiet course correction. Plans shifted, boundaries were redrawn, Decisions you thought were settled came back for review. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic, but enough to redirect where you were heading. Then came SWAN in mid-September, right before the eclipse window. Its arrival carried urgency, like invisible clocks ticking in the background. Suddenly, choices felt heavier. Deadlines appeared out of nowhere. Conversations carried the energy of now or never. For many, this was the push, not comfortable, but perfectly timed. And right after the eclipse, stereo arrives around September 26th. It doesn't crash through loudly, it works in the background. This is where the details matter. A word someone says, a chance encounter, a news story you almost overlook. Small ripples that reveal how the intentions you set during the eclipse are already taking shape. But October does not move slowly. Atlas K1 swings by October 8th, bringing fire. Life accelerates, days stack, and momentum builds whether you're ready or not. It's not polite, it doesn't wait. It drags you into movement, into speed, into a current that forces you to adapt. Then, just when the rhythm feels predictable, 3i Atlas passes at the end of October. It doesn't belong here, and yet here it is, cutting across our story. This is the disruption, the unexpected arrival. Maybe a new face, maybe a strange event, maybe a piece of news that feels foreign, yet demands your focus. In November, Lemon peaks on November 8th, shining brighter than forecasts suggested, impossible to ignore. This isn't subtle, it's collective, obvious, shared. The kind of energy where what's been private becomes public, what's been hidden becomes visible to everyone. The moment when the spotlight can't be avoided. And finally, as the year closes, Neat on December 19th brings the finishing touch. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady, final, absolute. Loose ends tied, doors closed, business finished. The kind of ending that makes sure nothing is left undone. So when people talk about 7 comets crowding a single season, don't dismiss it as coincidence. Feel it. Look back on where you've already been redirected, where urgency pressed you, where speed took over, where strange influences entered your life. These aren't just streaks of light, they are markers, weaving into the eclipse and into your story, showing you exactly where one chapter ends and the next begins. Comets are the wild cards of the sky. We can map their orbits with math, track their paths for years, but their behavior? That's the part no one can fully control. A comet that looks weak and unremarkable can suddenly flare up into a blazing light overnight. And one hyped as the event of the year can crumble into dust before anyone even sees it. That's because comets are fragile. A thin layer of ice can crack, a sudden jet of gas can fire off like a rocket, and with that, its path can shift in ways no one expected. Even with today's technology, comets still make scientists nervous. A sudden outburst or a hidden weakness inside can change the story completely. They can swerve from predictions without warning. We've seen it happen before, and all of this is happening as we approach the end of the current eclipse season. The eclipse itself is the predictable part, the shadow we know is coming. But the comets racing around it, they're unstable, explosive, and capable of rewriting the script in an instant. That's why comets have always carried a sense of dread. Unlike the steady rhythm of eclipses, comets remind us that the universe still keeps its wild cards, and sometimes one surprise is all it takes to change everything. And then comes the one that refuses to be ignored. Lemon, the comet expected to brighten in November until it can be seen without a telescope, glowing in the open sky where anyone can look up and witness it. Most comets slip by unnoticed. They need charts, binoculars, the careful eye of an astronomer. But not this one. This one is for everyone. This one is meant to stop people in their tracks, to make strangers look up at the same sky at the same moment, to spark a collective pause. Because there's something different about shared spectacles. When only a few can see it, it stays private. But when everyone can see it, it becomes a message. The universe never whispers when it wants the world to listen. Lemon's arrival after the eclipse season isn't random. It's almost theatrical. First, the light dims, the shadows cross the earth, cycles close, chapters end. Then, weeks later, a comet bright enough to catch the eye of the masses arrives, as if to say, "Here is your sign, here is your confirmation, here is your proof that the story continues." And maybe that's what makes this moment so important. Not just the rare science of it, but the fact that for once, people will look up together. You may not notice when a subtle comet passes, you may not feel every hidden influence, but you will notice when a streak of light burns in the sky above you. That's the kind of sign that no one can dismiss. And when it comes, don't just see it as a spectacle. See it as a mirror. Ask yourself, what in your life is finally bright enough that you cannot ignore it anymore? What truth has been creeping in quietly that now demands to be seen? Because the bright comet isn't just a signal in the heavens, it's a call, and it's coming for all of us. 7 comets, all pressing into the inner solar system within months of each other. Do you realize how rare that is? In most years, you might hear of one comet worth watching, maybe 2 if the sky is generous. And even then, they often pass quietly, requiring telescopes and star charts to even notice. But now, 7, one after another, stacked together in a window of time that already holds a solar eclipse. That's not just celestial mechanics, that's choreography. Because when the universe wants to whisper, it sends one sign. But when it wants to shake us awake, it doesn't send a whisper. It sends a chorus. And that's what this is. Not random rocks, not chance alignments, but a cosmic symphony where every instrument plays its note. Think about how perfectly the timing fits. An eclipse by itself is already a reset. The sun swallowed, the earth paused, light and shadow colliding. But this time, the eclipse doesn't stand alone. It's framed by a parade of comets, as if the heavens decided one sign wasn't enough. As if the universe wanted to underline the message 7 times in a row, so we couldn't miss it. Why now? Why during this exact season, as we approach the end of the eclipse window? Why not scatter them across the decade, the century? Why all together? The answer isn't astronomy. The answer is alignment. Because the truth is, humanity is already standing on the edge. We feel it. Systems cracking, old ways collapsing, new energies rising. Even without looking up, people sense it in their bones that the world is not stable, not still, not what it was. And then the sky itself mirrors that tension. 7 comets pressing in at once, like a reflection of the pressure building here on Earth. Coincidence is the language of those not ready to see. If you felt your life stacking up with events lately, deadlines on top of decisions, endings colliding with beginnings, multiple pressures all arriving at once, that's not random. That's resonance. That's your timeline moving in harmony with the sky. Because 7 voices rising at once is not chaos. It's harmony. It's proof that cycles don't happen in isolation, they converge. Just like instruments in an orchestra, just like waves in the ocean, just like choices in your own life. And this is the key. Comets don't move in straight lines just to entertain us. They appear when they appear, carrying meaning in their timing. And when they cluster, it's not for spectacle. It's because something is converging here and now. So ask yourself, what in your own life feels crowded right now? Where are multiple changes stacking on top of each other? Where are you being asked to handle not one turning point, but several? That isn't bad luck. That isn't pressure without purpose. That is the same chorus playing in your life that is echoing across the sky. And this is why their overlap with the eclipse matters so much. Because the eclipse is the drumbeat, the fixed strike, the guaranteed pause. And the comets are the instruments weaving around it, building, rising, surrounding that single note of darkness with a harmony of light. 7 comets in the season of an eclipse is not chance. It is choreography. Comets are not just streaks of light in the night sky. They are time capsules of creation. Their dust is older than Earth itself, older even than the sun we see every day. When one of these icy travelers swings too close to the sun, it begins to shed. Fragile layers of frozen dust crack, crumble, and trail behind it. What you see glowing in the sky isn't only fire, it's the ashes of the beginning, drifting across the heavens. And this dust is more than debris. It's a story, a reminder. Because comets are proof that nothing moves forward without leaving something behind. Spiritually, that's the truth of our lives too. We move forward, yes, but not intact, not unchanged. We shed, we burn away pieces of ourselves that cannot survive the heat of growth. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every ending, they all fall away like dust. And yet, just like a comet's trail, they don't disappear into nothing. Here's the paradox. The dust isn't wasted. The fragments a comet leaves behind become meteor showers, streaks of light that make people stop and stare in awe. What once seemed like loss becomes beauty. And in the same way, the parts of us we've burned away, the failures, the endings, the moments we thought broke us, they become the very things that shine in our story. They are what others see glowing when they look at us. They are the proof we have lived. Now bring the eclipse into this picture. An eclipse is the moment of shadow when the sun, giver of all light and life, is swallowed. For a brief time, the world is dimmed, and in that dimming, we can see what we normally overlook. The trails, the dust, the fragments. Symbolically, it's as though the universe pauses the light just long enough for us to notice the truth. What in our own lives have we already burned away? What ashes are we still carrying when they should have long been released? This is what the comets are showing us now. They're saying, you are not meant to remain whole in the same form forever. You are meant to crack, to flare, to shed, to leave trails of memory and lessons behind you. Just like them, you carry fire forward by letting the ashes fall. Think about it. Every great leap in your life came with loss. You couldn't carry everything forward. To grow, you had to burn away the old. The dust of your past still exists, but not as weight. It shines as memory, as wisdom, as proof. That's why comet trails glow even when the comet itself is long gone. And here's the invitation. When the eclipse falls and the world is shadowed, don't just see it as a spectacle, see it as recognition. The sky is mirroring your own dust trail. It's showing you the parts of yourself you've already released and reminding you that you can release more. Because there is no growth without burning, no light without shedding, no future without the ashes of the past. So when the comets blaze and the eclipse darkens, remember, you are not crumbling, you are transforming. You are leaving behind fragments so that something brighter, something undeniable can rise. And when you feel that eerie shift in the sky, don't resist it. Ask yourself, what is ready to burn away? What can finally be left behind? What ashes will I let drift so that my light can be seen more clearly? Because in the end, the dust of comets is the dust of souls. And the beauty is this: dust doesn't mean the end of the fire. It means the fire has already burned, and the trail it leaves behind is nothing less than light. Here's the part almost everyone misses. The comets don't wait for their closest approach to begin shaping us. Their influence doesn't start the moment they flare up in the night sky. It begins the second we know about them, the moment their names pass through the air, the moment their light is recorded against the stars. Awareness itself triggers the effect. And this is exactly why their overlap with the eclipse is so critical, because the eclipse is not just a cosmic show. It's not just a shadow crossing the sun. It is a demand. When the sun is swallowed, even for a few moments, the world holds its breath. Animals grow restless. Temperatures shift. People feel a hush they can't explain. It is a pause where the old patterns cannot hide anymore. The eclipse pulls everything to the surface. The truths we've avoided, the choices we've delayed, the illusions we've been clinging to. But this time, the eclipse doesn't come alone. It comes surrounded by 7 messengers, each one reinforcing that message. You cannot stay the same. This is not punishment. This is alignment. The shadow clears the way for light. Think about what that means. The eclipse erases the sun for a moment, not to destroy it, but to remind us that light is precious, and that when it returns, it comes back sharper. And the comets echo that lesson. Each one is a reminder that something must shift. Not in vague, mystical ways, tangibly, really, in your work, in your relationships, in your habits, in the places you've been pretending everything is fine when it isn't. Some chapters must end cleanly. Some illusions must be shattered. Some choices can't be postponed anymore. That's what the eclipse demands, and that's what the comets keep pressing over and over as they blaze across the sky. And here's the timing that should shake you. This eclipse slices right through the middle of their season. It's the centerpiece of their story, the hinge in the doorframe. Some comets passed before, whispering subtle changes. Others follow after, carrying acceleration, disruption, recognition, and closure. The eclipse stands between them like a cosmic judge, saying, "Here is the turning point. Before and after are not the same." This isn't chaos. This isn't coincidence. This is orchestration. Because the truth is, eclipses never arrive politely. They rip through comfort zones. They slam doors. They flip pages. And when you stack 7 comets around that moment, it stops being just another cycle in the sky. It becomes a convergence, a chorus, a demand that cannot be ignored. And this demand isn't asking you to sit and think about it for months. It asks you to act now, to release what is already cracking, to face what you've been delaying, to say the words you've been swallowing, to close the door you've been standing halfway through. The eclipse and the comets together are not just background astronomy. They are the universe pulling every string at once to force your attention exactly where it needs to go. And the demand is simple, but absolute. Let go of what cannot survive the shadow so that what is real can step fully into the light. Astrology has always been about patterns in the sky reflecting patterns within us. So when the heavens don't just give us one event, but 8 stacked together, an eclipse plus 7 comets, the zodiac doesn't just notice, it reverberates. Each sign feels this rare surge in its own way. And the more you understand it, the more you can ride the wave instead of being pulled under by it. For fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, this moment is gasoline poured onto the flame. Fire signs thrive on movement, and this sky is pure ignition. Don't be surprised if you feel restless, impatient, even reckless in the weeks after the eclipse. Doors will swing open fast, opportunities will arrive without warning, and choices will demand to be made immediately. It might feel overwhelming at first, but this is the exact pressure that creates breakthrough. For fire signs, the eclipse isn't a pause in the action. It's the spark before liftoff. If you're fire, get ready to feel like the universe just pressed the accelerator. For earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, this energy will feel heavier, more disruptive. Earth thrives on stability, but this sky is not about keeping things steady. Routines you've relied on may collapse. Jobs, plans, or finances may shift suddenly. Something you thought was fixed may suddenly feel shaky, and that can be unsettling. But remember, the eclipse doesn't destroy what's real, it only clears what isn't solid enough to last. For earth signs, the lesson is this: when the ground shakes, it's only because new foundations are waiting to be built. What feels like instability now is actually preparation for long-term strength. For air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, this will play out in the mind. Comets streaking through the sky mirror the flood of ideas streaking through your thoughts. Expect a surge of inspiration, rapid conversations, and crossroads stacking one on top of another. It may feel like too many voices speaking at once, too many paths calling your name. Confusion? Yes, but also brilliance. For air signs, the eclipse acts as a cosmic filter. When the shadow falls, it cuts through the noise and helps you recognize which voices actually matter. The lesson is clarity. Not every idea can fly, not every opportunity deserves your energy, and this season teaches you how to choose. And then there are water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, who will feel this not in their plans or their thoughts, but in the depths of their emotions. Comets are icy travelers that transform when they draw near the sun, and water signs will mirror this. Expect waves of emotion rising without warning, old memories bubbling up, and floods of feeling that seem too big to contain. It may feel messy, even overwhelming at first, as if emotional dams are breaking open. But the eclipse makes sure this flood isn't random. It is cleansing. It is washing away what no longer belongs. For water signs, this is purification disguised as chaos, the necessary tide before peace returns. And this is the bigger truth. Every element is being pulled, stretched, ignited, shaken, or flooded, but all for the same reason. Because this isn't just an eclipse, and it isn't just comets. It's both, layered together, dragging every sign of the zodiac into alignment in its own way. So ask yourself, are you burning? Are you shaking? Are you spinning? Are you overflowing? Whatever your answer is, that's your sign's doorway. That's how the sky is speaking to you. Because when the sky moves in ways this rare, it isn't only the heavens that shift, the soul moves too. For most of human history, comets were feared. They were the fiery swords in the sky, symbols of disaster, omens of downfall. Kings trembled when they appeared. Priests declared warnings. Whole nations braced for famine or war. A single streak of light could shatter the confidence of an empire. To the old world, a comet meant something was about to break. But here's the shift. That fear belonged to an age that did not yet understand. In a world of uncertainty, people looked up and saw chaos. They saw doom because they didn't yet have the vision to see renewal. And that is what makes our time so different. Humanity has changed. Consciousness has shifted. What was once seen as destruction is now revealed as transformation. Comets were once omens of doom. Now they are invitations to awaken, and this is where the eclipse comes in. An eclipse is the great reset, the shadow that clears the stage so something new can step forward. On its own, that would already be enough. But this time, the eclipse is surrounded by 7 comets, each one sweeping past like a messenger, each one carrying its own signal. Think of it this way: the eclipse wipes the slate clean. The comets write on it. That's not punishment, that's opportunity. That's the sky saying, "I've cleared the clutter. Now, what will you create?" This is why the timing matters. If these comets had come in isolation, they might have been dismissed as curiosities. If the eclipse had arrived alone, people might have seen it as just another cycle. But together, they form a convergence, the rarest kind of alignment, when multiple voices in the heavens speak the same truth in different tones. And the truth is this: something must change. Something must be let go. Something must begin. The real question is not, what will the comets destroy? The real question is, what will these comets awaken in you? Because perspective is everything. 2 people can stand under the same sky, one trembling at a supposed omen, the other inspired by a sign of destiny. One clings to fear, the other rises to opportunity. The same sky, the same streaks of light, the same eclipse, but 2 completely different realities. Which one will you choose? And make no mistake, this moment is a choice. You can see the convergence of eclipse and comets swarm as chaos, or you can see it as the rarest invitation of your lifetime. You can call it doom, or you can call it destiny. Because the truth is simple: the sky is not warning you. The sky is inviting you. And when you look back, years from now, you won't remember this as the season you feared the comets. You'll remember it as the season the heavens opened and whispered, "This is your time." If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.